Welcome back to the show, Marvels. Dana and I are back for another episode. Hi, Dana.
Hey, Gwen, how you doing?
I'm really good. Every time you do that, I want to go into the Saturday Night Live.
What's the Saturday Night Live thing?
This skit, just the
Oh yeah, how you doing? Yeah. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
I'm really good. Yeah.
And we are listening. We are going to do a blooper reel, but it's labor intensive and
gosh.
poor Gwen's busy. So, but we do hear you. We are going to do one for you.
You guys really want a blooper reel of us? I mean,
just like a 5-minute goofy laughing. I think when we always start, we're cracking up before we start taping. I think it'd be hilarious.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll make a promise. I'll make a promise. Okay. If we can get, let's see, on this episode, because you would only be listening. I mean, like, you would only know. If we can get this episode to, what do you want? What do you want, Dana? Something ridiculous, like 100 likes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll do a blooper. I'll do a blooper reel.
There we go.
How's that?
Okay. Yeah. Is that doable? Okay. Do we get that many likes on videos?
No. Hey, you know what? It's 2024. I feel like we could shoot for the stars.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So tell your friends, if you want the blooper reel, tell them to like our video. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. You know, so something that I think as we come into the new year, there is a concept for me that I constantly work on in my practice with my clients, which is I really, really, instead of time management, everyone hears about time management, I really work on energy management. And I find that this has been a more effective and honestly more realistic approach to tackling the day, right? Yeah. Because I could calendar block my day out. And let's say if I wasn't careful, so writing for me, I do some writing at work. Writing for me takes the most amount of bandwidth.
Yeah.
If I don't put that in the morning time and I don't give myself, a couple hours to do that task, it won't be done. So it doesn't matter if I time manage it. Like, let's say it doesn't matter that I block it out if I block it out, let's say from 3 to 5 p.m. Right. I just know that will never happen because I won't have the energy that it takes.
Gotcha.
Or the attention that I have, right? And so this idea of when you wake up or knowing how you wake up, different people have talked about, how many spoons do you have? It's the same kind of how much fuel do you have in your gas tank? How much money do you have in your, whatever it is, the idea of look at the energy suck that the tasks of the day take. Can you realistically do all of them without putting yourself out?
Yeah.
And is there a way to sequence them or approach them where you have more success in getting what you need to be?
And it's hard to do. You have to learn what your sucks are.
Yeah.
Right?
What are your energy kind of depleters and what are your energy givers, right? Yeah. Takers and givers. Like even if you could even do that. No, even if you could just do that, like what gives me energy? What takes energy?
And this was a really hard lesson for me to learn. And in some ways I can still struggle with it, especially if it's something that I don't want to miss out on. I can, if I'm doing something for work and I'm thinking of like, we have coming up our interviewing days. And those are sort of exciting, seeing these, little puppies applying to graduate school and you just want to talk to everybody and it's so fun. And I, in the past, would find myself staying in that high level of engagement and staying too long. Or like if I went out with workmates afterwards for a drink or something, just not metering the time, but not metering the energy. Like, oh, I don't want to miss out. They're having a good time. If I leave now, what a bummer. And then I would just be trashed, right? So learning like which things are your, like you said, your drainers and which things are your feeders, but sometimes your drainers could vary depending on the time of year or if you've had other drains earlier in the day. There may be recovery time you have to build in, those kinds of things, right?
Mm.
And you may not, I would imagine, I always go back to like little kids. No wonder they're so dysregulated all the time because they just haven't learned this stuff yet, right? They don't know, they're not in control of their lives to know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think maybe even for teens too, because that's all about, spending time and doing things with peers and so on. And are you missing out on those things if you don't do those things? Are people going to start not including you because you keep saying no? One of my favorite memes is, thank you for inviting me to the party. I'm still not coming, but keep inviting me, right? Don't not invite me
Right.
because that 101st time is the time I'm going to come. I mean, and the joke is because you really sometimes don't know until you're there. And it isn't, like you said, it isn't time management. It isn't just putting on a calendar. It's knowing your MO, like you said, doing that writing in the morning. For me, if I had to do that sort of work in the morning, it'd be the kiss of death. I would just wouldn't be awake enough. I used to
Yeah.
study in graduate school. It was usually around 4 o'clock. My brain would come to life. It's different now than it was. It's usually more midday, like between 11 and 3, maybe for me now.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of, you do, again, that awareness thing that we always come back to. And then is your life structured in a way that you can take advantage of that? Because sometimes you can't. What if you have to take a chemistry class at 4 in the afternoon and your brain is like just shutting off? Oh God, what can you do then you might
Yep.
decide to not do certain things in the day leading up to that, et cetera, et cetera. But this is complex and it does take a lot of time to work it out.
Yeah. I mean, energy management has everything to do with knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know your givers and takers,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know, and so there are some exercises or they're exercise. Yeah, I guess they're exercises, but there's some things that I do with my clients.
Mm.
One is that we immediately get kind of a representation of what their energy is. It could be a gas
Mm-hmm.
tank. It could be money. It could be, we
Mm-hmm.
talk about like what happens when it's depleted, these types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we really clearly identify givers and takers. And then we really kind of go through and audit all their activities, all their mandatory activities. And
Oh, there you go.
we then we get into the weeds. And
Mm-hmm.
I ask like, how much energy does that take? And
Yeah.
sometimes that's different depending on what's going on in your life, right? Like some of my clients are very, very impacted by, you really like the season.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
there's
Yeah.
right. There's
Less
that
energy when it's
piece.
dark out a lot. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And just kind of more apathetic, I think, in
Mm-hmm.
general. Like there's not as much motivation or energy. I shouldn't say motivation, but there's not a lot of energy,
Yeah.
kind of. And so, or recovery. I love that you said that,
Mm-hmm.
Dana, you're really good at planning your recovery, that
Mm-hmm.
people don't know, that our listeners don't know this, but like, Dana is really great. If she's got a lot going on, and Sue had a significant incident, like in
Mm-hmm.
the end of
Yeah.
last
We lost her
year.
brother. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dana was just like, when I'm not going to be able to take a podcast
Mm-hmm.
right after that funeral. And it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a, but
Yeah.
but it's because Dana knows herself and she looked ahead. Like
Mm-hmm.
she looked, and so this is another thing I say to my clients: don't look at your calendar one day at a time. Look at your
Yeah.
calendar a
Yeah.
week at a glance, because
Yeah.
at minimum, then you at least can see the landscape of your week.
It's
You
so
know?
interesting you say that because they make my schedule's still on paper.
Yeah,
And I always get the week at a
yeah.
glance. The
You
day
got
at
to
a
get a week at a
glance,
glance. No,
I can't do and I can't
no, I
do
know.
the month at a glance because I can't write enough in the little
Right?
boxes.
No.
Ah, yeah, no wonder I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, whenever I look just one day at a time, I overcommit. I
Ah, yeah,
always overcommit when I do a day at a
yeah,
glance.
sure.
But when I do a week at a time and I look at a
Mhm.
week, I can look at the week and be like, I'm not going to have anything left in my tank for a
Yeah,
social event, whatever, Sunday at
yeah,
evening. Like
yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to want to do that. People have made fun of us because we're in the new year here, and my husband and I, decided not to go to a New Year's party.
Yeah.
And we decided not to go to a New Year's Eve party because of my daughter's very kind of demanding hockey travel schedule.
Mhm.
We decided that on New Year's Eve day, we were going to take down Christmas.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
take down the outside of the house, take down the inside of the house, get our house really back to normal again.
Mhm.
Because as we look at the next few weeks, we're gone every weekend
Oh, yeah.
until the middle of February.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we also
man.
didn't want to leave all these things up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Sure.
would drive me absolutely crazy because I'm a
Yeah.
very visual person. Okay, anyway.
Right.
So, but I can't tell you the amount of negative social
Mm.
response that we got
Oh, really?
from not going to this New Year's Eve party. Are you
Oh,
kidding? I can't
damn.
believe that like you're like the decorations shouldn't even come down till after New Year's. Da, da, da. And I just
Oh,
found myself needing to advocate
yeah.
over and
Yeah.
over again of saying no.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because it's like, oh, I know that. And we've been saying no to more
Mhm.
social things, more to, you
Mhm.
right? And so it is like, I know I've said no to, but keep inviting me, that meme.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
but it's
so funny.
hard. You're talking about how hard it can be. The pressure can be really great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as I get older, like my FOMO, I don't have as much FOMO
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's not YOLO. What's the opposite of FOMO?
Joy of missing out? JOMO? I'm so glad I didn't do that on JOMO. Hey, we got a new one. Yeah.
Data. That needs to be on a shirt. That's going to go to our
I
merch.
actually, for those of you, we did finally get a business license, and I did finally make a business account on Zazzle. So they're forthcoming. I will let you know. Yeah.
We're going to make
I
JOMO
love
shirts.
that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
The
write myself
joy
a
of
note
missing
right now.
out.
I'm gonna do
I
that right now.
guarantee you
Yeah,
there will be people who would buy this shirt.
totally.
You know what? JOMO. That's going to be a new thing for us.
I'm
JOMO.
sending myself a message as we speak, so I don't
I
forget
love
that
it.
one.
And and for me, it was like, this is what I need in order to get my life back on track
Yes.
in the way that I want it. And I think the other piece too that you and I talked about offline or off air
Mhm.
is probably more accurate is that, I've just realized I need more structure in my life to get things back.
Mhm.
So it's like, and that's not a weakness. Like for me, that
Right.
is, if I don't pay someone to meet with them, to exercise, to do these things, I don't do
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
that's just me needing structure.
It
So,
shouldn't be a shame thing. It should just be that's what you need.
right,
Okay, great. It's great that you realize that.
right,
End of story.
right,
Yeah, totally.
right.
Yeah.
So even
Yeah.
as psychologists,
Yeah.
it still takes
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
a while to
Yeah.
get a sense of this from a self-awareness piece.
Totally. Yeah. That I did the same thing last night. Our beloved Washington Huskies were trying to get into the finals for football, and my wife works at UW, and the game was going to go really late. And so I knew that we were taping this morning. I have a bunch of other stuff for work today, and I'm like, I have to go to bed. I'm gonna miss the game, but I have to go to. I have no idea how long it's going to last. Right? Could be
Yeah.
overtime. It's like it's just not worth it. The old me, when I was younger, would have just watched it, or I would have I would have caved to the pressure. I can't believe you're going to bed. Like if someone said, "Oh my god, I can't believe you missed the game," I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to be one that doesn't know what happened." So I just kept checking the score when I'd get up to go to the restroom or something like that. But the old me would have motored through and then really suffered. So I really want to let our viewers and our listeners know that figuring that out for yourself is hard, but you start doing it and you start doing something to manage your energy, and you're like, oh wow, that went really well, maybe I should do that again. And it oftentimes it needs to include people in your life, whether it's your immediate family, your husband saying, yeah, let's take the decorations down, and then you still got like that flack from people at the party, and then you have to like be able to learn to deal with that and be like, well, here's the and it does get easier as you get older, because you're like, well, screw that, I'm just going to do what I need to do. But it is the whole idea of managing your energy is a steep hill to climb, and just don't give up, keep trying. Don't shame yourself. Use them as learning opportunities. So like you've learned that you need structure around working out and that kind of stuff. Versus if you do it and then you're depleted, say, okay, note to self, I don't want to do that again. But instead of saying, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, have it be, all right, there it is again. There's another chance to learn and I'm going to try it differently next time. So just be a little more gentle with yourself and have it
Yeah.
be a learning opportunity. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And, I think energy management, when you think about it that way, you immediately put yourself into care, self-care,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and like, I feel like, this, I don't know. I don't know if self-care has gotten a negative rap, or like sometimes I
Yeah.
see that to be like, or like the self-help movement, or like
I
whatever
know.
that
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah. Because you have to help yourself because no one else is going to help you. That kind of, yeah.
Right, but if you're not if you don't manage your energy, you're not available. Like you're not
Right.
available to the things that are important to you.
Mhm.
And so, continue to even if you sat down and you split a page in half and you're like, here are my energy
Yeah.
givers, here are my energy takers. Just
Yeah.
having that awareness can be so helpful in like how you set up a day. As you were
Yeah.
saying, oh, Gwen, like what would you do if you had to take a chemistry class at 4 p.m., which by the way sounds like an awful torturous time for
Sounds like
me.
hell. Yeah.
Right. It really sounds awful. My first thought would be, and I didn't know this in my collegiate years or my grad
Yeah.
school years. I didn't have that awareness then. I
Mhm.
have it more so now than ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
because my energy is limited. Like
Yeah.
I had to wait for my energy to be limited to say, "Oh, I
To do
probably should
something
treat
about
this
it.
better as a
Yeah.
resource,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think my approach there would be something along the lines of, I probably would need to exercise or do something kind of
Oh, amping you up ahead of time. Yeah.
yes, before
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I there's a joke for me. It's like I don't work past a certain time in my
Mhm.
practice because ethically I don't think I'd be available enough to
Yeah.
charge people
Yeah.
money. Like
Totally. I
literally.
used to
Like
do evening appointments
no.
when I was younger and I was awake, but I don't
Mm-mm.
go past 4 o'clock ever anymore.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm much better super early in the morning. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so that's just, that's just, you get my best earlier in
Yes.
the day than you do
That's
later.
right.
And
That's a good thing.
that's,
Yeah.
I've just come to that realization as well,
Yeah.
that
And
I
then,
just do better that way.
yeah. And then other things that are unplanned can impact that. Like if you get sick or,
Yeah.
family member dies or something
Yeah.
along those lines, you have to realize that some of these are moving targets as well and to be a little bit
Yeah.
gentle with yourself if you get caught in one and like, oh, okay, now I need extra time. I always plan recovery days after like holidays or vacations now and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
We love sporting events, me and my wife, but if we actually go to one, she knows now it has to be like an afternoon game. I won't go to a game where it doesn't even start till 7 o'clock. I
Oh,
go to
yeah.
bed at like 8:15. I'm not gonna do well if I'm out at a game that starts at 7. So we just know that about each other. So she'll ask a friend to go to those. So those kinds of things you do need your kind of family to buy in and to help you with too, to whether you call it colluding or not. It's just really about managing your own energy. It's good.
Yeah. And not
Yeah.
being judged. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard enough for you not to maybe have the self-criticism about it, but
Yeah.
then to be
Yeah.
surrounded by criticism is its
Oh,
own thing, right?
yeah.
So that's why I really love JOMO, by the way. Like I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that there's a joy of missing out. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm joyful about it. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't need to do it. And there's, the other piece that strikes me, Dana, is, executive functioning difficulties are very common with
Mhm.
neurodivergent
Mhm.
individuals, right? And so, what energy management does take is
Yeah.
some of this executive functioning, meaning,
Yeah.
what are my future goals, right? Like, how do I look beyond the now
Mhm. Mhm.
for
Mhm.
something that I want or need? And
Yeah.
then, how do I back or reverse engineer that in
Yeah.
order
Yeah.
to get that? And that can be very difficult, I think,
Yeah.
for for my clients,
Yeah.
not because they can't plan, but because they get bogged down by the plethora of
Mhm.
options or uh, choices and which one is the best choice. And then they get decision paralysis
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they're out. Then they don't make any
Yeah.
decision at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. But they spent all their energy in that place. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of people will see that and be like, oh, you're just like unmotivated or lazy. Oh, it was so great. I heard someone say, to reframe lazy. And they're like, lazy, like the question is, did you have fun
Mhm.
while you were being lazy? Did you have fun? And if the answer is yes, then that was lazy. If it was no, because you were like pining or overthinking or something, that's
Mhm.
not lazy.
I told you that.
Dana.
I can't claim credit though. It's from a client of mine. Yeah. I think it's a
Okay, so
great measure
so
of
I heard it
that.
from
Yeah.
this really
Yeah.
incredible person, this concept. I heard it and I love that, Dana. I
Yeah.
love that reframe on it.
Yeah, because anytime you can have a tool that helps you assess what's going on with you internally,
Yeah.
that's great. It's an information armor. And we talked about sort of shaming yourself, and then there can be some loss in this. Like you might not be able to do everything your neurotypical friends do, and you may feel like there's some grieving in that, and that goes along with just accepting who you are and how you're wired, for sure. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great example to say, well, it does drain me. If my neurotypical friends got drained by stuff, they probably wouldn't be doing it either. So you're sort of evening the playing field with that as well. And that's just one tool for that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Hmm.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm
Hmm.
laughing. Let's make a shirt that said, "No, I told you that." Dana
I
Waters.
do that all the time. And I'll say that to
Love
my
it.
students. I'll say, did I tell you guys this already? Because I kind of lose track of like which class, or I may have told a person. I don't remember who I told what to. So
It's
that's why I
awesome. I
was
think
smirking, because I do
it's
that all the time.
it's a great tool though, Dana. Like it's so fantastic. Anyway,
Thank you to my
but
client. She taught me that. It was awesome. Yeah.
well, our clients often teach us great things, right? I mean,
Lots
this
of
is
good stuff.
why the work is so informative for us as
Mhm, mhm.
professionals. It's, my
Yeah,
clients absolutely are the reason why I am the clinician I am
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah. We don't know
Um,
everything. Yeah, we learn from you
no.
guys too.
Yeah, I mean, no,
Yeah,
seriously, seriously.
yeah.
So that's a big. So yeah, so if you're, as you're thinking about productivity, which tends to happen at the
Mhm.
top of a new year,
Yeah,
right? We tend to look at these things.
yeah.
Sitting down and just really like how do I manage my energy so I'm not cut off at the knees every
Mhm,
day?
mhm. Yeah,
How do
yeah.
I do that? And how do I have a
Mhm.
sustainable kind of routine or rhythm for
Yeah,
myself?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And work at it. It takes time to put it
Yeah.
together. Yeah,
Oh gosh,
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. All right, Marvels. Well, be good to you, you
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Awesome.
eh?
Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye everyone.